Part 53. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 521. Zhang Zizai was waiting for them to leave, but who knew that the corpse of the monster would turn into a crystal? What was even more unexpected was that the crystal would move on its own, and it was obviously coming towards him. There was no way to avoid it. The Snow Fox's illusion had the risk of being discovered, and now it undoubtedly increased this risk several times. The Hades Palace was still in shock, and the crystal had already flown in front of Zhang Zizai. He couldn't avoid it even if he wanted to, because as long as he moved, they would definitely find him. So, this was a dead end that would definitely be discovered, and there was no way out. Zhang Zizai made a different choice. He gradually saw the crystal clearly. The crystal was transparent, and it was hard to see what was inside at first. When the crystal got closer, Zhang Zizai found that there seemed to be a black dragon shadow inside it. The strange thing about this thing is that it looks like an evolution source. Many evolution sources are strange, such as the Ice Heaven punishment that Zhang Zizai had obtained before, which looks very similar to this crystal. With the cognition of mortals, the existence of the crystal cannot be explained. All the existences that cannot be explained are generally the source of evolution. However, it is really unheard of that a monster with a dragon head and a human body will become a source of evolution after dying in battle. So Zhang Zizai naturally did not think that this would be the source of evolution. What surprised him was that the direction in which the crystal was moving was exactly his devouring heaven demon dragon totem, as if it was attracted by his totem and summoned. At the moment when Zhang Zizai did not react, the crystal melted into the totem at the position of his brow and disappeared instantly. The next time it appeared, it was already in the sea of life. Zhang Zizai could feel that the crystal rushed into the mouth of the black dragon, passed through the black petals, and was swallowed by the black dragon. Then it seemed to disappear completely. The devouring heaven demon dragon seemed to have undergone some changes. Its body grew a little, and it was actually a little thicker. Then it was reflected in the power of the totem seal, and it seemed to have also been enhanced to a certain extent. An all-round improvement. Zhang Zizai realized this instantly. His totem did not change, but the crystal stone enhanced it, causing the totem to become stronger. When the totem becomes stronger, the whole person becomes stronger. This degree is relatively obvious, not the kind of enhancement that is completely imperceptible. At least at this moment, Zhang Zizai felt refreshed. Unfortunately, he was discovered. Who is here? The strong men of the Hades Palace quickly surrounded Zhang Zizai in this position. 3 Hades blocked his position next to him. It is difficult to fly with wings inserted, which describes Zhang Zizai now. Because of the change in his internal power, the totem magic power of the Snow Fox was invalid. He and the Snow Fox both appeared. The Snow Fox was probably the first time to see so many strong men. He was a little awed in his heart, hiding on Zhang Zizai's shoulder, looking at everyone timidly. Zhang Zizai, it's you. Wujian Hades was the closest and recognized Zhang Zizai first. Nice to meet you, Zhang Zizai said hurriedly. Most of the strong men in the Hades Palace had seen him. So they all recognized him quickly. Surrounded by the crowd, Bai Yeling, who was wearing a black dress, had fair skin and was charming and attractive. Her eyes were fierce and she said, "Didn't you enter the life and death Fu sect? Why are you here alone? Have you been abandoned?" She had been practicing hard for a long time after being defeated by Zhang Zizai last time. When she met him again, the fire in her heart gradually burned up. That's not the case. I am skilled and brave, so I choose to act alone. Unlike some people, they need so many strong people to protect them. What's the difference between them and turtles? Zhang Zizai teased. Are you itching for trouble? Bai Yeling couldn't bear it at all. Pause first. Wu Jian Hades stood in front of Zhang Zizai. He looked at Xuanhuan, then looked at Zhang Zizai, and said, "If I guess correctly, You also came here because of the sun's phenomenon, but you should have been separated from the people of Fu sect, right? Sun's phenomenon, Zhang Zizai had been here all the time and didn't know what the phenomenon was outside. He didn't answer the question, and Wujian Hades took it as his tacit agreement. He looked at Zhang Zizai curiously and said, "Let me ask you a question. We in the Hades Palace give you such good resources, why do you choose the Dying Life and Death Talisman sect?" The word dying shows their contempt for the Life and Death Talisman section. Zhang Zizai said, "Nothing else, because I like talismans. That's it. The way of talismans is just a useless way. It consumes too much energy and will only affect your cultivation in the end," Bai Yeling said beside him. "No matter how much I affect you, I'm better than you," Zhang Zizai said. "Try it again if you dare?" "It's not certain who will win or lose now," Bai Yeling raised his eyebrows. "Let's talk about this first," Wujian Hades interrupted again. He looked at Zhang Zizai with a serious look and said, "You took the crystal just now, right? We defeated the dragon beast, and the crystal is ours. Give it back to us first." "That thing is called dragon beast? What kind of monster is it?" Zhang Zizai asked. "It is a thing that can only appear in ancient times. It is not a source beast, not a human, and not a monster. Don't change the subject. Return the thing to us first." Wujian Hades stretched out his hand. Zhang Zizai waved his hand helplessly and said, "To be honest, I really don't know what happened. I wanted to wait for you to leave and then leave. Who knew that the crystal stone would actually melt into my totem, just like the source of evolution, but it didn't bring me any changes. I guess it might be related to the dragon shadow on the crystal stone." His words were basically close to the truth. But the other party obviously didn't believe it. Bai Yeling was a little angry and said, "Everyone, this guy is simply playing tricks on us. I think he won't cry until he sees the coffin. It's obvious that he is not going to return it. Just take it directly from him." Blood Soul Hades said, "Zhang Zizai, we are not kidding you. Even your talisman king would not dare to take things from our Hades palace in such a place. The key is that Zhang Zizai can't give them the things at all. But if they want to search for the Space Jade Pendant, this is not possible, because there is a 7th level evolution source in it. If they see it, the Ice Heaven punishment will probably be gone. That is a treasure. Priceless. However, now that he is surrounded and forced by the powerful, he has a headache." He said that the crystal stone was integrated into the totem. No one wants to believe such an incredible thing. Before Zhang Zizai could speak, Blood Soul Hades appeared on him. The power on his body turned into many blood-colored vines that entangled Zhang Zizai, making him unable to move, and then searched for the Space Jade Pendant on his body. "Did you find it?" Wujian Hades asked. Xuanhuan Hades shook his head, and then really took out the Ice Heaven punishment from it, and said, "Zhang Zizai, if you don't return the crystal stone to us, we will accept the Ice Heaven punishment first. When you come back, you can ask us for it. But it is not ruled out that we will let someone inherit it first, and then we will exchange it with each other." Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 522. The 7th level evolution source that I just got is gone just like that. Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot circled M. It's a blood loss. Zhang Zizai was very depressed, but there was nothing he could do. The other party was a group of strong men, and the crystal stone did fly to him. However, they actually wanted to use the crystal stone to exchange for the 7th level evolution source, which was clearly bullying. Treasures like the 7th level evolution source are hard to come by, and can be said to be priceless. Even a city is far from enough to exchange for the 7th level evolution source. If this evolution succeeds, it is equivalent to having an extra universe level totem. The Blood Soul Hades directly took away the Ice Heavenly punishment, and then released Zhang Zizai. "If you take out the crystal stone now, maybe you can exchange it back," the Bone Hades said. I said, Let the totem merge, Zhang Zizai said in a deep voice. Then there's nothing we can do. They all smiled. Zhang Zizai saw that they actually believed that the crystal had been integrated into his totem, and believed that Zhang Zizai would never be able to take out the crystal. Because after getting the ice heaven punishment, they felt that they had gained more. One thing for one thing, it is fair. Besides, you still occupy the crystal and refuse to exchange it for your 7th level evolution source, which means that you think the crystal is really something. Zhang Zizai, you have gained. Congratulations. Bai Yeling was smiling when she spoke. Seeing Zhang Zizai being humiliated, she was very happy. The trouble with this matter is that the other party obviously wants to take the treasure, but she is speechless and has no way to reason. This is the depressed and angry part. My things are not so easy to take away, Zhang Zizai said. The same is true for our Hades Palace's things, Bai Yeling said. Whenever you want to return the crystal, come to us again. Let's go. Wuji and Hades greeted everyone. Except for a few young people, they are at least Fujiang or above, so they leave very quickly. The Ice Heaven punishment was in the Space Jade pendant of the Blood Soul Hades. It was impossible to get it back. Zhang Zizai did not work in vain. He could only wait for an opportunity in the future. They left in a swagger. At this time, suddenly, the Immortal Talisman and the Lifeless Talisman on Zhang Zizai's chest, as well as the Beast Control Talisman on the Snow Sky Fox, all emitted a dim light for a while, vibrating slightly, and the glimmer of the 3 talismans shone, covering him in light. Suddenly, Zhang Zizai clearly felt through these 3 talismans that there was something in this Dragon Demon ruins that was related to these 3 talismans, and Zhang Zizai could roughly sense the location of that thing. What could it be? In the sense, it seemed to be a talisman. What's going on? The people in the Hades Palace had just left, and suddenly saw the glimmer on Zhang Zizai's body behind them. The stronger they were, the more they could see that Zhang Zizai had 3 strange things on his body, and these things seemed to be related to the Dragon Demon ruins. They went and came back quickly. The Blood Soul Hades returned again and restrained Zhang Zizai. He opened his chest and saw that the Lifeless Talisman and the Immortal Talisman appeared in it. Lifeless Talisman, Immortal Talisman. They are all on you. The Blood Soul Hades widened his eyes and was stunned. The other Hades Palace strongmen who heard him were also stunned. It seems that you are not very well informed. Recently even these 2 talismans were suddenly discovered, which was a bit depressing. He didn't expect that these 3 talismans would actually make a move at this time. This is the Beast Taming Talisman. I was wondering why the Snow Sky Fox was obedient. The Bone Hades saw the outline of the Beast Taming Talisman on the head of the Snow Sky Fox. The 3 great talismans are all on him. The Hades Palace strongmen looked at Zhang Zizai with their eyes wide open. Even Bai Yeling and Yuanjin and others were stunned. You just found out now that I am now the Master of Life and Death Talisman of Fuhe. This identity is the same as your Hades. If such a benefit is given to me, why should I go to Hades Palace to be the disciple of Hades God? Zhang Zizai could only scare them like this. After all, he still had the scary idea of being protected by the ancient gods. Master of Life and Death Talisman, the 3 Hades had to look at him again. The Life and Death Talisman sect has never allowed the Immortal Talisman and the Lifeless Talisman to be inherited by one person. And the Immortal Talisman has disappeared for many years. They looked at each other and naturally knew that Zhang Zizai was even more complicated now. There was a mystery about him, which was enough to make people worry. Since your identity is so noble, why are you wandering here alone? Bai Yeling asked unhappily. I guess I got separated, Wujian Hades said. When he spoke, he was still looking at Zhang Zizai. The 3 divine talismans were enough for them to imagine a lot, such as killing Zhang Zizai and getting these 3 divine talismans. However, they hesitated, because the master of the Heavenly God Palace was dead to deal with Zhang Zizai. They couldn't make a decision for the time being. Such a big thing must be decided by asking the two Hades. But the three talismans were enough to make them feel excited. The Hades palace never had so much morality when doing things. Wait. Trouble, the blood soul Hades suddenly looked at everyone in shock, looking very depressed. What's wrong? It is said that the sixth divine talisman will appear after the five divine talismans have been inherited and recognized by their masters, and will guide the inheritors of the five divine talismans to find them. This kid inherited 3 divine talismans, and the Holy Lady of Tianlong has inherited the divine fire talisman. Now the situation is clearly guiding Zhang Zizhe to take care of the 6th divine talisman, which means that the blood prison talisman has been inherited by that guy, the blood soul Hades said with regret and hatred. When he spoke, he looked at Bai Yeling and found that Bai Yeling's face was very gloomy. How is it possible? The blood prison talisman is so difficult to inherit, how could that person inherit it so easily? I have been doing it since I was a child. Bai Yeling's voice was hoarse, and there was a hint of crying. It looks like she is very sad. It sounds like the blood prison talisman has always been in her hands, but she has spent countless skills since she was a child, but she has not succeeded. That person? The blood prison talisman, Zhang Zizhe was a little confused. He did know that the induction between the 3 great divine talismans and a certain location in the Dragon Demon ruins was likely to guide him to find the 6th divine talisman. This indeed shows that the 5 great divine talismans were all inherited. But it was not the people of the Hades palace who inherited it, but that person? Who could it be? Your blood prison talisman was taken away by someone, Zhang Zizhe asked in surprise. He was more interested in that person. Shut up, Bai Yeling was a little hysterical. Why haven't my parents caught that person yet? They have been chasing for so long. Escaped in here, it's so complicated here, it's really hard to find it, Wujian Hades said. We can't rest, hurry up and find it, Bai Yeling said anxiously. How to find it, this is the problem. Dear elders, I have an idea, Yuan Jin suddenly said. Everyone looked at him. Yuan Jin said, Zhang Zizhe knows the location of the 6th magic talisman. That person also knows and will go there. We can fight for the 6th magic talisman and then take back our blood prison talisman. Let Zhang Zizhe lead the way. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 523. Yuan Jin's decision received a lot of praise. At this important moment, everyone was a bit irritable, and it was not easy for him to figure it out. Yuan Jin, just do as you say. Bai Yeling's eyes were full of gratitude, because this decision was too important to her. They had already decided. Let Zhang Zizhe lead the way. To put it bluntly, it was to escort Zhang Zizhe to the 6th divine talisman. By the way, did you arrange me like this with my consent? Zhang Zizhe said. It's not enough to take away the ice heavenly punishment, but you still want to use it again? You are a prisoner now, don't think you can do anything just because you are the master of life and death talismans. We are not afraid of the sea of talismans, let alone you, the master of life and death talismans without strength. Lead the way quickly, Bai Yeling said. You said you are so beautiful, why are you so disgusting? Zhang Zizhe used to think that this was a charming beauty, but now he wanted to beat her up. Lead the way, Bai Yeling said coldly. She couldn't wait any longer. I won't. Zhang Zizhe didn't believe it. If he didn't lead the way, what could they do to him? Do you believe that we will kill you and take away all 3 of your magic talismans? Bai Yeling said fiercely. Her eyes were already red. You can try it. Then see who will have a more miserable end. Zhang Zizhe laughed dumbly. At this time, the expression still had to be in place, otherwise they would not be afraid of Juxian. Ling stop talking nonsense. Wujian Hades pulled her back. They still knew what was going on. Zhang Zizai, let's discuss a condition. What we can accept is that you lead the way for us and I return the ice heaven punishment to you. How about it? If you don't agree to this, then today both of us will be in trouble. You don't give us convenience and take away our crystals. It's difficult for us to deal with it, Wujian Hades said. This is the best of both worlds. The crystal stone will be your reward for leading us. To be honest, we in the underworld palace really don't want to have bad relations with you and Fu Hai. We have never had any grudges, and we in the underworld palace also admire you very much, said the blood soul Hades. It seems that in order to let Zhang Zizai lead the way, they can get back the blood prison talisman and get the opportunity to find the sixth divine talisman at the same time. They have made a lot of concessions. After all, to be honest, Zhang Zizai can see that the three Hades have no decision-making power and do not want to tear their faces with Zhang Zizai for the time being. On the one hand, they do not want to become a blood sea of feud with the life and death talisman sect, and on the other hand, they are probably afraid of the ancient god behind him in the rumors. The other party wants to make peace. Zhang Zizai smiled and said, "No problem, the deal is done. But I have a condition." "You say," the three Hades said in unison. They can't tear their faces and threaten Zhang Zizai with death to lead the way. If there is a suitable way, they are willing to negotiate. "I want to spar with Bai Yeling. I noticed that she thought she could beat me after not seeing her for a while." Zhang Zizai glared at her. "I'd love to, come on." Before the Hades agreed, Bai Yeling was furious and said, "Get out of my way." They knew that Bai Yeling had made great progress recently, and she was even more impressive after she took Zhang Zizai as her target. The Hades thought about it and agreed to the sparring. The two had long disliked each other. "You despicable and shameless person, I'll let you pretend and I'll make you lose your teeth on the ground right away," Bai Yeling said coldly. "Don't be funny, you can't even keep the blood prison talisman, you are a waste, and you still have the nerve to brag in front of me." Zhang Zizai laughed dumbly. This sentence touched her pain and made her explode immediately. This time she directly attacked and killed him. Remember the last time they fought, she was in the 4th level of the Divine Seal Realm, and Zhang Zizai was in the 3rd level of the Divine Seal Realm. Now, she is at the 6th level of the Divine Seal Realm, having broken through 2 levels in a row, but Zhang Zizai has broken through 3 levels in a row, and his speed is faster than hers. At the same level, it is a joke to want to fight with Zhang Zizai. The two of them collided directly with each other. Zhang Zizai directly used the 8-step soul chasing lightning and the 9-day tribulation thunderclaw to suppress Bai Yeling. Within 10 breaths of fighting, Bai Yeling was defeated directly. Zhang Zizai slapped her in the face and slapped her directly out. "When you talk to me in the future, pay attention to your tone and attitude." Zhang Zizai landed steadily, and said to Bai Yeling, whose face was swollen and red on one side, with his hands behind his back. Bai Yeling's tears flowed, and her eyes became even redder. She howled angrily and wanted to fight, but Wujian Hades stopped her. Wujian Hades sighed and said, "Ling you are not his opponent, don't waste your time." Last time, they were evenly matched, but now the world is crushed by Zhang Zizai, and the gap is already obvious. Bai Yeling was unwilling to give up, and could only touch her swollen face and cry bitterly. The blood prison talisman was lost. The courage and confidence to practice were severely frustrated at this time, and she even wanted to die. "Ling you can definitely defeat him," Yu Wenjin said worriedly. "Get out." "Trash," Bai Yeling glared at him, and became even more angry, especially when she saw that Zhang Zizai was chatting and laughing with the Hades, as if the previous confrontation had never happened. "Zizai, we can only return the ice heaven punishment to you after you take us there, is that okay?" Wujian Hades asked. "Of course it's okay," Zhang Zizai said generously. "Then let's go." "Let's go, follow me." Zhang Zizai looked confident. On the way, Zhang Zizai asked, "King of Hell, it's strange to say, How could someone take away your blood prison talisman? With such a high level of skill, don't you know who it is? The three kings of hell looked at each other, and then looked at Bai Yeling, who was about to cry. Who took the blood prison talisman? When did it happen? On the way here, King Wujian said. He took away the blood prison talisman under your protection. Only a god can do that, right? Zhang Zizai said exaggeratedly. No, King Wujian shook his head, sighed, and said, it's embarrassing to say that this person is very good at hiding. He approached Ling Er directly and took away the blood prison talisman when she tried to inherit it. You didn't even see the person clearly? You are really? Zhang Zizai hadn't finished speaking yet, and Bai Yeling whimpered and was about to cry again. That person is very strange. Ling Er saw a pair of bloody eyes, and he disappeared without even seeing whether it was a man or a woman, King Xuanhuan said. Bloody eyes, Zhang Zizai thought about it and searched for people with bloody eyes in his memory. He suddenly thought of someone. Under the big tree, the swing was shaking, and she sat on it, staring at the gate with bloody eyes, day and night in a daze. Yan'er. For a moment, he actually thought that person would be Yan'er. However, he could only smile bitterly, because he knew that she would never appear again. Sorry, the update has been a bit unstable recently. Today is tentatively scheduled for 3 chapters, and 5 chapters will be updated tomorrow. Because there are no drafts saved, it will be written later. It is recommended to read it again at 2200 hours every day in the next few days, and it will basically be updated. This state may last for a week. In the next week, the madman will quickly prepare a few chapters of drafts and ensure the update in the morning. Thank you for your support, understanding, tolerance, gratitude, and gratitude. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 524. Zhang Zizai found this place more and more interesting. It feels like there are still many people hiding in the dark in this dragon demon ruins. He is very interested in the person who stole the blood prison talisman. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Apart from the blood red eyes, are there any other characteristics, such as gender? Age? Wu Jian Hades looked at Bai Yeling and shook his head. No, she didn't see anything clearly. It's because you didn't catch up with him, Bai Yeling said unhappily. The only thing that can be confirmed is that this person has also entered here. Now, he is likely to go in the direction of the 6th talisman, so we need to hurry up, Blood Soul Hades said. Then counted, there are 3 parties who can have clues to the 6th talisman. I just don't know if the people from the Holy Dynasty have come in. The skeleton Hades said. Nonsense, they must have come in, Bai Yeling said. She was spoiled and arrogant, and was not so polite to the 3 Hades. Zhang Zizai led them to shuttle through the ant nest. The direction he moved forward was guided by a kind of traction in the dark, and the 6th talisman was guiding him forward. It was true that he was leading the way, but now he wanted to get rid of them in the process. He was now under house arrest. If he could get rid of them, he could even lose the Ice Heaven punishment. The key is that this group of people surrounded me. It is harder to get rid of them than to climb to the sky. There are 3 Hades and a bunch of Hades generals around him, staring at him all the time, which is easier said than done. He can only hope that if he can meet Ye Dongyang or Tianya on the road, they might take him away. As a result, he did not meet Ye Dongyang and the others, but met the dragon beast again. A dragon beast rushed out from the side passage and almost kidnapped a genius disciple. Fortunately, Hades reacted in time and protected the young man. Even so, the young man was frightened and incontinent. At that moment, it was bloody and he was almost eaten. Wujian Hades took action and fought against the dragon beast. If it was a single Hades, it would take some effort to finally kill the dragon beast. During the battle, Zhang Zizai asked the Blood Soul Hades, what exactly is this dragon beast? According to the ancient books, there is a kind of half-human, half-beast existence, which is said to have the blood of the dragon god and the blood of humans. It has no totem, but its flesh has totem patterns. It has strong physical strength and can fight totem warriors directly with physical violence. The blood of the dragon god. Zhang Zizai looked carefully. The dragon beast was half human and half dragon, rough and cruel. If it was not at the level of Hades, it would be difficult to subdue it. I remember that a dragon guardian was eaten by the dragon beast. This means that there should be many people in the dragon demon ruins who have been eaten by the dragon beast, but I didn't know it. The danger here is beyond many people's expectations. After the dragon beast was killed this time, the people in the Hades palace were very vigilant. Under their gaze, the dragon beast turned into a black crystal again. This black crystal is exactly the same as the last time. Zhang Zizai, you step back while speaking. Hades went to collect the black crystal. They were naturally worried that the black crystal would automatically fly to Zhang Zizai again. As a result, what they were worried about still happened. As soon as Hades rushed forward, the black crystal was like a flexible little beast, easily avoiding his control, and directly flashed in the air with a bell-like method, and appeared in front of Zhang Zizai in the blink of an eye. Blood Soul Hades and Bone Hades guarded Zhang Zizai. They acted swiftly and used their abilities to snatch the black crystal. As a result, the black crystal changed in an instant and flashed in front of Zhang Zizai again. Without any explanation, it went directly into Zhang Zizai's totem. This time they saw very clearly that the black crystal was indeed integrated into Zhang Zizai's totem. The black dragon of the natal sea swallowed the black crystal and transformed the totem again, thereby triggering the growth of Zhang Zizai's abilities in all aspects. This growth cannot be seen by outsiders for the time being. Zhang Zizai, the people from the Hades palace surrounded him, all with unfriendly faces. He must have done it on purpose. He is the one who is causing trouble by yelling, said angrily. The redness and swelling on her face had not yet subsided. Everyone, if I had this ability, I would not be imprisoned by you, Zhang Zizai said frankly. Don't talk about imprisonment, it's too ugly, Wujian Hades said, but, are you hiding something from us? For example, why did this black crystal choose you on its own initiative? I really don't know, otherwise I will be struck by lightning, Zhang Zizai said. In fact, he was very happy in his heart. Didn't you want to use me to find the sixth talisman? The heaven opened its eyes and let you help me fight monsters and help me become stronger. Anyway, this black crystal took the initiative to find me, which did not harm me at all. They looked at each other, probably still discussing, and they talked for a long time with red faces, but they still couldn't do anything to Zhang Zizai. In return, I will take you to the location. Zhang Zizai's words made them feel better. Although the sixth talisman was not far away in the sense, when they really walked, they found that they had to keep circling and turning in this maze. After half a day, Zhang Zizai felt that there was still a long way to go. However, the place they were currently at should be the depths of the dragon demon ruins, and there was no trace of other people coming around. In this half-day, Zhang Zizai saw a total of 2 heads, both of which were left over by the dragon beasts. Sure enough, many people died in it. They said that these were some hidden strongmen in the origin continent, serving some dynasties second only to the Tianlong Holy Dynasty. For example, the Holy Kirin Empire. In addition to the 2 dragon beasts that they killed at the beginning, they also encountered a dragon beast. Of course, the black crystal also went into Zhang Zizai's pocket. In this regard, the people in the Hades palace could only be depressed, but there was no way. They still needed Zhang Zizai to lead the way, and the way the black crystal looked for Zhang Zizai was incredible. They were ready, but they still couldn't stop the black crystal from being actively merged by Zhang Zizai. Are you kidding us? And deliberately taking a detour, by yelling suspected. Bullshit, there are 2 groups of people heading over there, what good will it do me to delay? He really wanted to get there as soon as possible, so as not to let others get there first. Bai Yeling still didn't believe it and kept making a fuss. Zhang Zizai didn't bother to care about her and continued to go deeper. Suddenly, there was a loud noise from the side, and it was obvious that many strong men were approaching. "Retreat quickly," Wujian Hades said urgently. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 525. This passage is too narrow. It is a narrow road meeting. When Wujian Hades found the other party naturally found them. Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. He wanted to retreat, but the other party had already appeared on the opposite side, and a group of them came out directly and appeared in front of Zhang Zizai. At a glance, they were all familiar people. This was the team of the Origin Divine Sect. Basically, they were all holy servants. Yishan, Tianyi, and other sons of gods were all there. The 5 palace masters were all present. The new Tianshen palace master Li Yinhe had silver hair and a cold face, which was much colder than the original Tianyi. The old fox, the beast god palace master, said that he would abdicate in 2 years when Zhang Zizai first came to the divine sect, but now he is still occupying the toilet. Sikongjian, Shijian, and Feng Xiaoao are all here. Next to Feng Xiaoao, there is also a dreamy and ethereal beauty standing, naturally Feng Xiaoxiao. When Zhang Zizai saw her, she also saw Zhang Zizai. There were so many people in the Hades Palace, and no one could divert her attention. The only person who could make her take a quick look was Bai Yeling. After all, this was a charming girl standing next to Zhang Zizai, and she was the same type as Juxian in front of her. The Divine Sect and the Hades Palace had countless years of life and death hatred. When enemies meet, they are particularly jealous. However, because of this, they will not act casually. After all, they are all very cautious. So it's everyone from the Divine Section. Your nose is really sharp. You found this place so quickly, Wujian Hades sneered. Your dog noses are more sensitive, the Lord of the Sword God Palace snorted. The two sides met in this narrow space and confronted each other. The people of the Divine Sect soon saw Zhang Zizai in the crowd. After seeing him, the faces of the people of the Divine Sect were even different. At that time, Li Yinhe, the Lord of the Heavenly God Palace, said in a deep voice, Zhang Zizai, you have become the Lord of Life and Death, Talismans of the Sea of Talismans. Why did you join the Underworld Palace? Can you play both sides of the fence in this matter? That's not the case. It's just that I have a good relationship with several Hades. Since I met them, I just went with them, Zhang Zizai said. Compared with going with the people of the Underworld Palace, Zhang Zizai was more reluctant to let the people of the Divine Sect control him, because he could see that too many of them looked very unfriendly to him. At the beginning, he killed the Lord of the Heavenly God Palace and caused such a big commotion in the Divine Sect, which caused a great loss of face for the Divine Section. Although Xuanhuan Chushan ordered him to leave, I'm afraid that this group of people would not accept it in their hearts. They didn't know what the situation was at that time and who was killing whom. It's true that snakes and rats are in the same nest, Li Yinhe said. Li Yinhe, you seem particularly unhappy with Zhang Zizai. If he hadn't killed Tianyi, how could you become the Lord of the Heavenly God Palace? Speaking of which, how can the Shenzong be so cowardly as to mock others? Wujian Hades sneered. His words hit the sore spot of the Shenzong. I don't know how many people find it hard to understand why the Shenzong didn't deal with Zhang Zizai. When it was rumored that he became the Lord of Life and Death Talisman, the opportunity to deal with him was lost. Who said we won't deal with him? Now, we are going to deal with Zhang Zizai. Please don't meddle in other people's business in the Hades Palace, Li Yinhe said in a tough manner. Huh? You mean, do you want to do it? Wujian Hades and the others were a little overwhelmed. At the beginning, Zhang Zizai left the Shenzong in a swagger, and no one touched him. Now it has been so long, and Zhang Zizai is actually under their control. At this time, the people of the Shenzong actually want to do it to him. Stop joking. He is our guest now. You can punish him if you want. Do you take our Hades palace seriously? Wujian Hades' tone was equally cold. Disposal. Zhang Zizai was stunned for a moment. He asked Li Yinhe, is this your own decision or the decision of Xuanhuan Chushan? Didn't she tell you why she didn't dare to touch me? They didn't punish him earlier, but they are going to attack him today? What kind of trick is this? This is the decision of the divine sect, Li Yinhe said. Zhang Zizai looked at the other palace masters again. It seemed that the other palace masters also acquiesced. It seems that they have wanted to capture Zhang Zizai for a while. Before this, Zhang Zizai had been in Fuhe and they couldn't get in. Now that they saw that there were no strong men from the Fu sect around him, they actually wanted to punish him. Tisk tisk, dare to say such a thing, do you think my friends in the Hades palace don't exist? I think you, Li Yinhe, are just bragging. We don't need to pay attention to him, Zhang Zizai laughed. Now, he wanted them to fight, otherwise how could he have a chance to leave? The divine sect actually wanted to punish him. Very good, it's best to go straight to the fight. His words were obviously meant to provoke them to fight, but the people of the divine sect didn't know that he was under house arrest now, and they only thought that he was still as arrogant as before. The 5 palace masters looked at each other. They looked at the 3 Hades behind them, and they had the advantage in numbers, so they actually started fighting directly. The divine sect and the underworld palace actually fought as soon as they met. This is a big event in the origin continent. Hand over Zhang Zizai. This matter has nothing to do with your underworld palace. Don't have unnecessary casualties. The 5 palace masters took action, and a group of holy servants behind them also suppressed them. Although the underworld palace had fewer people, they were ignored and provoked like this. If they could only blame Zhang Zizai for handing over Zhang Zizai, then they would lose face. The key is that they definitely don't want to give up the opportunity to get the 6th divine talisman, so they directly fought back. These are all strong men in the Tianyuan realm, who are much stronger than him in the divine seal realm. Retreat. Wujian Hades protected Zhang Zizai and retreated, but the other 2 Hades could not stop the 5 palace masters from joining forces. Soon, 2 palace masters lifted the crowd and came to them. It was Li Yinhe, the palace master of the god of heaven, and the palace master of the god of sword. The palace master of the god of sword was the best sword in the world. He held a snow-white divine sword in his hand. When he waved his hand, a sword energy tore everything apart. The Hades along the way did not dare to resist and were all forced away. He rushed to Wujian Hades in an instant and sneered, Wujian Hades, you are a defeated general, can you still take my sword? The moment he finished speaking, he swept his sword across, forcing Wujian Hades to fight with him. Go, Xuetian, who received the order and hit Zhang Zizai. The 2 quickly left the battlefield and fled outside. Now there was chaos everywhere. Fighting in this narrow space, Zhang Zizai had a certain chance of escape. He finally broke out of the encirclement of the Hades palace. Just when he thought he could regain his freedom, a silver-haired man blocked his way. Snow Fox, he slapped the Snow Fox on the forehead. The Snow Fox whimpered and fell to the ground, dead. It was Li Yinhe. Seeing that the Snow Fox died instantly, Zhang Zizai was furious. The people of the divine sect were still like this, domineering and ruthless, thinking they could control everything. He was really fed up. Do you still want to escape? Li Yinhe sneered at him. There was a silver thread wrapped around his palm, which looked like it could penetrate Zhang Zizai's body at any time. Zhang Zizai quietly picked up the beast talisman. He knew that he might have to transfer it from the hands of the Hades Palace to the hands of the Divine Section. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qing Yang. Chapter 526. No need to fight. Li Yinhe wrapped those silver threads around Zhang Zizai's body to prevent him from moving, and then dragged Zhang Zizai quickly back to their Shenzong team while telling everyone at the same time. Seeing this situation, the four palace masters immediately returned to the Shenzong team. However, the people in the Hades palace saw that Zhang Zizai was gone, so they had no choice but to stop first. There were more people on the other side, so they really had little choice. If they insist on fighting, they will lose in the end. If there are casualties, it will not be worthwhile. After all, not all of them were present, so the disadvantage was in terms of numbers. Shenzong, we have recorded today's account, and will pay it back to you sooner or later, together with the previous grudges, slowly. Besides, I don't believe it anymore. With these young people, how can you get rid of us? Wu Jian Pluto sneered. What do you mean? Li Yinhe asked. Zhang Zizai is our friend, so we naturally have to protect him. Since you have snatched away our friends, you still want to get rid of us. The meaning of Infernal Pluto is very obvious. Even if you get the person, they will still follow you. Anyway, as long as he follows Zhang Zizai, it means there is the possibility of a sixth talisman. It is unclear whether the people of Shenzong knew that Zhang Zizai had the sixth talisman. At present, it seems that they do not know. The five palace masters looked at each other. If you are willing to be a follower, then that's up to you. This time we must take Zhang Zizai back to Shenzong for disposal. I don't believe that you can follow Shenzong, Li Yinhe said nonchalantly. After saying that, he pulled Zhang Zizai and turned to leave with the other Shenzong people. The people from Hades came over and followed them. They were only a dozen steps away, and they didn't seem to want to leave even an inch. The teams on both sides are really too big. It would be too difficult for one person to shake off the other team. Zhang Zizai was a little stunned by what happened today. After leaving that day, Shenzong never caused trouble for him. Do they think this was what Shenzong meant? Xuanhuan Chushan still dares to attack her. Is she not afraid of death? If he died, she would die too. Moreover, they are still in awe of the 9 Immortals. After all, she was terrible that day. I've caught you. You've been hiding in Fuhai before. It's not easy to find someone in Fuhai. Li Yinhe walked and looked at him indifferently. I was in Daejiang King City for a while. Why didn't you come? It was easier than Zhang Zizai said depressedly. At that time, the first god had not yet made a decision. Li Yinhe said. Hey, what changes did she go through later that gave her the courage to let you capture me? Zhang Zizai asked. You want to know? I don't want to know. Why are you asking? Because, the first god of the sun came back and told the first god of Xuanhuan something. What happened? He said that it is impossible for the ancient gods to exist in the mortal world, because the continent of origin cannot bear the ancient gods. If they stay forcibly, they will be hunted down by the laws of the divine domain. Li Yinhe sneered, this is something that not even the first god Xuanhuan can do. No. The first god of the sun actually said this? Zhang Zizai didn't know this before, but he guessed it because the 9 Immortals told him that if they wanted to meet, he could only go to the dragon sacrifice domain. You know that the sun god knew about this, but why didn't he spread it? Even the Xuanhuan god didn't tell it? That's because the teachings of our Shen sect are to make the world believe that the ancient gods can come and benefit all people. If all the people know that the ancient god will never come, then we will lose many believers. Li Yinhe sneered darkly. He glared at Zhang Zizai and said, so, it is the first god's decision to let us find an opportunity to bring you back to the Shenzong. It's useless for you to scare us with the ancient god again. That ancient god of yours, she is you will never come back in your life, so Zhang Zizai, you are in danger. No wonder he dares to be arrogant. However, the first god Xuanhuan didn't know that the curse placed on him by the 9 immortals was that all the damage to Zhang Zizai could be endured by the first god Xuanhuan? Does the first god want to kill me? Zhang Zizai asked with a smile. Who knows, haha, you are quite powerful, and you can get such a status in Fuhai, but it's a pity that Fuhai is really in decline, and no one can take it seriously. On the other hand, the people in Hades Palace are really nice to you. He looked back and saw that the people from Hades were really following them. Zhang Zizai thought to himself that Xuanhuan first god did not dare to kill him, but it seemed that there would be no problem if she imprisoned him. Now being caught by the people of Shenzhen would be more troublesome than putting yourself under house arrest by the people of Hades Palace. He was a little depressed. If he had known it earlier, he would not have followed Shen Xiao. If he came in later, he would not be separated from Yedongyang Tianya and the others. In this world of Tianyuan realm, it would be really troublesome for him to be alone. He was thinking, what to do now? During the journey, a concerned look kept looking at him. Zhang Zizai raised his head, and it turned out to be Feng Xiaoxiao. Feng Xiaoao was also beside her, but in front of the 5 palace masters, they were somewhat helpless. Zhang was so comfortable that he wasn't afraid, since he wouldn't die anyway. He is observing. As expected, the people of Shenzhen didn't know about the 6th talisman. They didn't even know where this place was. So, they are still exploring. The people in Hades Palace would not take the initiative to talk about the 6th talisman, but they were anxious as they saw Zhang Zizai being taken further and further away. People from the holy pilgrimage might have gone to that location long ago. The further you delay, the more trouble you will have. Another day passed in a blink of an eye. Occasionally, he would meet other people on the road, but they were scattered strong men. When they saw that the people from the divine sect and the underworld palace were together, they hurriedly avoided them. On this day, Zhang Zizai finally saw a talisman general from the life and death talisman section. He was Yayu, Tianya's son-in-law, who was alone. He was smart and immediately avoided them when he saw the divine sect team coming. Not many people in the divine sect knew him, and even if they saw him, they would probably think he was just an ordinary Tianyuan realm strong man. Zhang Zizai's eyes collided with his. He quickly used his mouth to say 4 words. Talisman King, save me. Meaning to find 2 talisman kings to save himself. He used his feet to mark the ground, and every time he stopped, he drew a talisman pattern on the spot. Although it was very blurry, with Tianya and his keenness, they should be able to keep up. Yeah, you should have understood, but the most difficult thing was that he had to find 2 talisman kings. Zhang Zizai was also trying his luck. But his luck was really good. 2 days later, 2 figures came after him. They were Tianya and Yedongyang. They immediately blocked the way for the people from the divine section. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 527. After they arrived, they looked calmer. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Everyone from the divine sect, why did you kidnap our Fu Sect's life and death talisman master? Tianya asked. This is my divine sect's traitor, we are just dealing with traitors. Li Yin he didn't expect to meet them, and said very straightforwardly. But now, he is our life and death talisman master, Yedongyang said in a deep voice. They have blocked the way of the divine sect. The sword god palace master said, the people of Fuhai should not join in the fun. They are already at the end of their strength. If they continue to make trouble, aren't they afraid of extinction and let down their ancestors? On the contrary, the Fu master is our hope for revival. If he has any problems, our life and death talisman masters will not hesitate to destroy him at the cost of extinction, and will also make the perpetrator pay a heavy price, Tianya sneered. Their attitude is already very firm. The divine sect is very strong, but I don't think it's strong enough to ignore our Fuhai. We are indeed declining, with only 4 Fu kings and more than 30 Fu generals, but all of us can die for the Fu Master. The hope of our old Fu Master also lies in the Fu Master. If the divine sect doesn't want blood to flow, don't mess around. In the history of Fuhe, we have no grudges with the divine section, Ye Dongyang said. They naturally have to show a spirit of facing death with indifference, so that the people of the divine sect will retreat. The Fu Master of life and death is so important. The words of the Lord of the Beast God Palace seemed a little unconvincing. You can try, Ye Dongyang is very tough. Then we'll see. Anyway, if you want us to release him now, it's impossible. No matter what Fu Master he is, in our eyes, he is the culprit of the death of the previous Lord of the Heavenly God Palace Tianyi, and he needs to pay the price, Li Yin, he said. Really? Isn't my brother's death what he deserves? Tianya smiled. Everyone just remembered that the Lord of the Heavenly Palace was the younger brother of the Tianya Fu Wang. Tianyi, who was present, should call him uncle. However, he had never seen this uncle. Get out of the way quickly, don't block the way, Li Yin, he said impatiently. At this time, the people of the Hades Palace came forward, and the three forces formed a triangle. Although the people of the Hades Palace didn't say anything, they also wanted to get Zhang Zizai. Now that the Shenzong didn't let him go, they didn't agree. Tianya and Ye Dongyang didn't leave. Wuji and Hades said, the Shenzong is too bullying. It's really arrogant. I can't stand it today. If you want to take action against Fu Hai's brothers, we won't sit idly by. This made the people of the Shenzong lose their temper. They were indeed worried that the other two would join forces, and the current situation was obviously developing in that direction. Then let's waste time here, Li Yin, he said. They were too lazy to move, anyway, they couldn't get out. Tianya and Ye Dongyang also had no ability to take Zhang Zizai away in front of the people of the divine section. The other party obviously refused to let them go, and the people of the underworld palace looked malicious. They must have a purpose for staying here. For a moment, the three parties were silent and stayed here motionless. An hour passed. The most depressed person was Zhang Zizai, because he had been delayed here for too long because of this group of people. Shen Xiao was a very lucky person. If she was given enough time, she might be able to get the sixth talisman. After all, she knew this place better than anyone else. Now it was really a waste of time for me to spend time here with these people. The underworld palace could not help me. They had ulterior motives, and Tianya and the others were also on guard against them. Now Zhang Zizai was fine, and they were not in a hurry. It was just Zhang Zizai who was in a hurry. As time passed, he really had no choice. There must be danger near the sixth talisman. If there is a successor, he may have set up a test. Not everyone can get it. Although it is disadvantageous to bring too many strong people, if I am tied up here, I will have no chance at all. In this case, it is better for everyone to go together. If I encounter danger, I may have a chance to escape the control of Shenzong and Minggong. This is his helpless method. If it is not to waste time and infinitely increase Sheng Xiao's chance of getting the sixth talisman, he will not make such a choice. So, in this stalemate, he spoke. Everyone, do you want to know why Minggong followed me? Wuji and Hades' face suddenly darkened. That's because the three talismans on my body are already guiding me to find the sixth talisman. I know the location of the sixth talisman. The sixth talisman. There is a sixth talisman here. The people of Shenzong suddenly widened their eyes and were very shocked. It seems that they all know the meaning of the six talismans. The blood prison talisman was also inherited by someone. Tianya didn't know about this. The blood prison talisman of the underworld palace was lost and inherited by someone else. That person is in this ruins. In addition, the holy dragon saint of the holy dynasty should also know the location of the sixth talisman. I think that if I continue to fight with you here, the treasure will belong to the holy dynasty. This is exactly what the people of the underworld palace are anxious about. They just don't want to have more competitors like the divine sect, otherwise they would have left long ago. But now, time waits for no one. Zhang Zizai, are you telling the truth? Li Yinhe asked. Why don't you ask the Hades? Zhang Zizai smiled. From the faces of Wuji and Hades and the others, you can tell whether it is true or false. So, do you want to choose to waste time here, or let me lead the way and give everyone a chance to compete for the 6th talisman? This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Do you want to take advantage of the chaos to escape? Li Yinhe immediately saw through his thoughts. Why not? Zhang Zizai said. He was not afraid of letting the other party know, he was just betting that Li Yinhe might not be able to control the changes over there. Let's go, Li Yinhe said. Wuji and Hades and the others couldn't wait any longer. Tianya and Ye Dongyang looked at each other. They understood Zhang Zizai's considerations. It was better to take a group of people over than to stay here. At least there was still a chance. So, a large group of people in their team began to head to the location of the 6th talisman. Along the way, Yayu, Tianyu, Zhengqinkan, and others joined the team. Shenzhen was still unwilling to let people go, so there was a strong smell of asterisk between the three parties. The team went deeper and deeper. One day later, they arrived at a very deep underground. Zhang Zizai already felt that he was getting closer and closer to the 6th talisman. There seemed to be light at the end of the passage. They rushed forward quickly. Beyond the end, a huge spherical space appeared in front of them. At the 5 corners of the spherical space, there were 5 huge pools, each containing 5 kinds of things. In the golden pool, there was a golden airflow, which sometimes condensed into a solid. In the green pool, there was a cyan airflow, with countless insect-like lives on it. In the blue pool, there was a strong cold wave, which Zhang Zizai had encountered before. In the red pool, there was a kind of flame, which Zhang Zizai had also encountered. In the yellow pool, there was a kind of loess, which exuded a foul smell. These 5 pools were very large, occupying most of the area of this space. But the most awe-inspiring thing was the extent of the space, with a total of hundreds of dragon beasts sleeping in it. One was particularly huge. I still can't write 5 chapters today, so I'll move it to Friday, which is the day after tomorrow. The weather has changed and I have a slight cold, so please take care of yourself. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 528. A rough count shows that the number of dragon beasts is close to 100. Fortunately, they are still asleep, otherwise, I'm afraid they would have caused a big fuss. Those wandering outside now should have woken up here and ran away from here. In sleep, they stand on the ground with their eyes closed, but the ancient, brutal, and domineering aura on their bodies is very strong. Nearly 100 of them gather together, and the terrifying effect is really horrifying. There are big and small dragon beasts. The ones Zhang Ziyu has seen outside are relatively large, and even the dragon guardian and the holy spirit servant can be killed. What is the significance of hundreds of dragon beasts? It is close to the number of strong men in the entire origin continent. If these dragon beasts appear in the origin continent, it will cause a devastating blow to the continent and will be the biggest historical disaster in 100,000 years. Everyone is worried. After all, the forces of the origin continent are not twisted into a rope. In history, there has been no threat that can unite the divine sect and the underworld palace. People didn't dare to think about what would happen if these terrifying dragon beasts appeared outside. I'm afraid the whole world would have to be reshuffled. If they were ferocious enough, I'm afraid half of the world would be destroyed. Not to mention, there was a dragon beast king here, surrounded by many dragon beasts, with a body more than 10 times that of other dragon beasts, high above, looking down on the crowd, with a heavy and rough breath. I don't know how strong it is. After seeing so many dragon beasts, the group of people gathered in Shenzhen, Minggong, and Fuhe held their breath instantly. Their faces were all shocked, and their faces were pale. For a while, everyone didn't dare to breathe once, for fear that the noise of others would wake up these dragon beasts. It seems that even Shenzhen should have seen the horror of this dragon beast. For a while, everyone was quiet. Zhang Zizai took a closer look and found that there were many small caves on the inner wall of the spherical space. Each cave was a passage leading to this place from other places. They were actually in one of the larger caves. He could easily see that there was another group of people in the cave opposite them, about 30 people in total. They were also standing there and did not dare to act rashly. From their decorations and aura, it can be seen at a glance that they were from the Tianlong Holy Dynasty. Tianlong Holy King, Yanlong Holy King and Shuilong Holy King were all here, as well as many dragon guardians. They had almost gathered, and the Tianlong Holy Maiden, who was protected by layers of protection, was even more eye-catching. They were also dispersed by the waves, but they were able to meet in this dragon demon ruins, which means they are more familiar with this place than I am. Yan'er, there must be a lot of things they didn't tell me. When Zhang Zizai saw her, she also saw herself. At this time, she was still in the mood to smile at herself. She must have expected that Zhang Zizai and the others would come here. But the people of the Tianlong Holy Dynasty obviously didn't expect that Zhang Zizai would bring so many people, and bring people from the Divine Sect and the Underworld Palace in together. So, they were a little uncomfortable, because this obviously meant that the competitors had increased. They should have come a long time ago, but there was no movement, which obviously showed that they didn't dare to disturb these dragon beasts because they couldn't deal with them. The Lord of the Beast God Palace said. Don't mention the people of their holy dynasty. Even if all of us now add up, it would be very difficult to compete with these dragon beasts. It's really strange, there are so many terrifying creatures between heaven and earth. If these things go to the origin continent, the consequences will be unimaginable, the Lord of the Spirit God Palace said. Now that the forces of the four parties have gathered, the number of people in the Life and Death Talisman sect is pitiful. After all, most of them have been dispersed, otherwise they can barely be considered a force. I wonder if the old Talisman Master and the other two Talisman Kings have come in. Zhang Zizai looked around and couldn't find their traces. In this dead silence, the opponent's Tianlong Holy King actually spoke. He said, Zhang Zizai, you are really interesting. Bringing people from the Divine Sect, the Underworld Palace, and the Life and Death Talisman sect here, what good can it do for you? The people from the Divine Sect were shocked and dared not speak. Don't worry, they won't wake up so easily, at least they can't be awakened by talking. Seeing their silence, the Flame Dragon Saint King couldn't help but said with contempt. The Lord of the Heavenly Palace, Li Yinhe, was a little dissatisfied with the words of the Heavenly Dragon Saint King. He said, can't you see that it was my Divine Sect that escorted this person here? Oh, it seems that the Divine Sect wants to avenge the Lord of the Heavenly Palace. This reaction is a bit slow. What about the Underworld Palace? Could it be that the Divine Sect and the Underworld Palace have a private relationship, said the Water Dragon Saint King. From their tone, they were very dissatisfied with Zhang Zizai for bringing so many forces. It seems that someone in the Underworld Palace has inherited the Blood Prison Talisman? I guess it's Bai Yeling, the daughter of the Underworld God, the Heavenly Dragon Saint King said. His guess was normal, but it made the people of the Hades Palace feel helpless. Anyway, in front of the sixth Divine Talisman, they were like fire and water. The current situation seems to be that the people of the Holy Dynasty cannot deal with these dragon beasts, so they did not act on their own. However, even if there are many people now, no one plans to take action against these dragon beasts first, because the so-called sixth Divine Talisman cannot be seen yet. The people of the Divine Sect have just arrived, and they are still observing this spherical space. In addition to the dragon beasts, the 5 huge pools are also the key. The flames and cold waves that appeared in the ant nest should all come from this pool. Even at this time, something will come out of the 5 pools, rush into the passages beside, and spread in all directions, posing a life-threatening threat to the people in the ant nest. These are not ordinary disasters of heaven and earth, but the spirits born from long-term accumulation. For example, the golden breath is the piercing gold air. If it enters the body, it can cast the human organs into metal and kill instantly. The other 4 are the big Luan wood air, the ice cold water, the burning soul ghost fire and the yellow sky heavy soil. I know the yellow sky heavy soil, it is a special kind of soil. It is said that a particle weighs dozens of kilograms, and a ball of yellow sky heavy soil weighs thousands of kilograms, which can kill people. The 5 kinds of spirits are the birth of heaven and earth, and are related to spiritual minds and spiritual medicines. They are the result of the long-term accumulation of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. These 5 kinds of spirits are already the 5 most terrible ones between heaven and earth. At least the level of the Holy Spirit servant has to hide. The 5 pools correspond to gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, and the 5 holy clans of the Holy Dynasty. It seems that the people of the Holy Dynasty have a natural advantage in the competition. Several palace masters realized their current passivity during the discussion. It seems that some changes need to be made. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 529. Now is the time when no one dares to act rashly. However, the heavenly dragon Saint King over there has already taken the initiative. Since everyone is here, we will not hide. Before this, we have also made some attempts, but none of them succeeded, so we guess that the 6th god, the appearance of the talisman, may require the owners of the 5 major talismans, and it should be related to these 5 pools. Therefore, let us Tianlong Saint, Zhangzizai, and Bai Yeling work together to find a way. When the 6th talisman comes, show up, let's each snatch it according to our abilities. Listening to this, it seems impossible for Shen Xiao to elicit the 6th talisman by himself, otherwise they would definitely continue to try. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. I have no problem. Zhang Zizai had 3 magical talismans in his hand. If there was a chance to escape from the Shen zone, he would certainly be willing to go up. Otherwise, if he had been controlled by the people of the Shen zone, he would have no chance to escape from their control. He has no problem, but it depends on what the Shen zone people want. There must be a problem on the Hades side. When the clan kings and dragon guardians of the Holy Dynasty turned their attention to the Hades in the Hades Palace, the faces of the people in the Hades Palace became even more gloomy and their hearts became even more unhappy. Bai Yeling didn't inherit the Blood Hell Talisman. The Blood Hell Talisman was taken away. That person is here, but he hasn't appeared yet, Zhang Zizai said simply. The people in Hades were embarrassed, so he spoke on their behalf. How is that possible? The people of Shengqiao and Shenzong all stared wide-eyed. To be honest, they really didn't know. Dignified palace of the underworld, even the Blood Hell Talisman can be thrown away. Tisk tisk, the flame dragon Holy King shook his head and sighed. Then tell me, who inherited the Blood Hell Talisman? The people in the Holy Dynasty seemed to have a headache, because in their plan, all the successors of the talisman must come forward. Zhang Zizai waved his hand. Of course he didn't know. The people in Hades Palace have very dark faces, and they obviously don't know how to speak. Then there is nothing we can do. We can only wait for that strange person to appear, Tianlong Saint King said. It's really a strange person to be able to snatch away the Blood Hell Talisman. It seems that the Blood Hell Talisman is one of the 6 divine talismans that is very difficult to inherit, Water Dragon Saint King said. Their words were quite heartbreaking for Hades. We can only wait slowly. I hope it won't be because of you that we won't even be able to see the sixth talisman this time, the flame dragon Saint King said. They were indeed merciless in their words. After all, the relationship between the Holy Dynasty, Shenzong, and Hades Palace was not very good. Countless suppressians had long made Hades Palace hold a grudge. Of course, the Holy Dynasty and Shenzong are also competing with each other. The scene suddenly became cold and serious. Zhang Zizhe himself was also watching and thinking carefully. The current situation was a bit rigid and there was no way to change the situation because no one dared to act rashly. He had eye contact with Tianya and Ye Dongyang, but currently they are also waiting for a chance to save Zhang Zizhe. Maybe these Dragon Man beasts are an opportunity, but there are too many Dragon Man beasts, and they don't dare to mess around. In the dead silence, suddenly there was thunder. Suddenly, the Dragon Man Beast King in the center below suddenly erupted with 10 times the aura, shaking the whole place for a moment. The 10 times the aura crushed him, and an ancient and ferocious aura swept across. Instantly, the entire spherical space fell into a manic atmosphere. It could be clearly seen that the Dragon Man Beast King opened his eyes. They were a pair of blood-red eyes, as big as red lanterns, shining with frightening blood light in the darkness. Its aura and eyes look very difficult to deal with. A slight growl can make the surrounding walls tremble, and it even seems like the entire ant nest is shaking. This Dragon Human Beast King has already awakened, and all other Dragon Human Beasts have naturally awakened one after another in response to his summons. For a moment, all the Dragon Human Beasts roared manically, and astonishing evil energy rose into the sky, sweeping across to everyone. There are hundreds of Dragon Human Beasts, waving their tails and claws, and each one is a monster that can compete with the level of the Holy God. In terms of number, the Dragon Human Beasts even exceed the total of the strong men present. I am afraid that even the people of the Holy Dynasty, including Shen Xiao, did not expect that this Dragon Human Beast would suddenly wake up. This situation made their expressions change drastically. They were originally waiting for the last talisman owner to arrive, but now, they seem to have been targeted. The Dragon Human Beast is targeting everyone, including Zhang Zizhe. If these violent beasts are targeting them, they will feel heart palpitations. However, this is an opportunity to escape from Shenzong's control. Seeing that these giant beasts were about to rush up and tear apart everyone who disturbed them, suddenly, a beautiful figure suddenly appeared in a passage in this spherical space. No one noticed her existence. But suddenly he passed by and headed in the direction of the Dragon Man and Beast King. Only then did people see its existence. Who is that? Is she looking for death? Many people screamed in shock. Such an action would undoubtedly cost their lives. When they came down, people saw a scene that shocked them. When that tiny figure appeared in front of the Dragon Man and Beast King, the manic Dragon Man and Beast King suddenly calmed down, like a tamed beast, and his blood-red eyes met the gaze of the beautiful figure. Her eyes turned out to be blood color too. The Dragon Man Beast next to him also calmed down amidst the frenzy. The scene was nothing short of miraculous. Everyone's shocked eyes fell on the figure. In front of the Dragon Beast King, her figure seemed too small, so it was difficult to see her face clearly. Zhang Zizhe was in this position, and he could only see her from the side and back. He knew that this must be the person who took the blood prison talisman. But why did she look familiar? Moreover, she sounded like a strong person, but she looked very young. With such a body shape, she looked similar to himself. The most puzzling thing was why she could calm those dragon beasts down. Who is that? It's her, who took the blood prison talisman. Get it back, Bai yelling recognized her and almost burst into tears. But Wuji and Hades and the others did not move, because she was surrounded by dragon beasts. If she rushed up at this time, it would be courting death. Who are you, sir? On the other side of the Holy Dynasty, the heavenly dragon Saint King was also asking her. Zhang Zizai glanced over and suddenly saw that Cheng Xiao's expression seemed a little wrong. She held her hands in front of her chest, her eyes were blank, her body was trembling slightly, her eyes were full of doubts, fear, and tears, which looked very complicated. From her direction, she could directly see the face of the beautiful figure. Does she know this person? Zhang Zizai guessed after seeing her strange behavior. The appearance of this beautiful figure made the people present feel frightened, especially the strong ones. They could probably see that the beautiful figure seemed to be communicating with the Dragon Beast King. If she could control them, it would be terrible. Relying on this group of dragon beasts, she can become a powerful figure in the origin continent. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 530. Yan'er. Just then, Zhang Zizai heard a call that made him unbelievable. The sound was heartbreaking. Of course Zhang Zizai could tell that the voice came from Shen Xiao. She actually called that beautiful figure Yan'er. Princess Lingxian, Long Yan. Zhang Zizai thought she was familiar, but he never expected that Shen Xiao would call her that, because she had told Zhang Zizai a long time ago that she was dead in Xuanhuan. Now, is he resurrected from the dead, or what? He hadn't seen her face yet, but when he heard Shen Xiao's call, he knew he was absolutely right. After hearing the call, her body trembled slightly, and she gently raised her head to look in the direction of Shen Xiao. When she raised her head, Zhang Zizai could tell that it was definitely her, even if he could only see the side face. She was not dead. Zhang Zizai felt particularly uncomfortable when he heard that she was dead. Now that he saw that she was still alive, he felt like he had found her again. That feeling was so beautiful. No matter how strange she is now, Zhang Zizai is sincerely happy for her. Sister, she called softly, her voice was weak, but her voice had mixed feelings. The relationship between the two of them immediately attracted everyone's admiration. This woman is the younger sister of the heavenly dragon saint. She came to our Yanlong Saint clan and entered the ancestral dragon abyss with her. She was said to be dead before. The flame dragon Saint King quickly told the others. It turns out he is a member of our Tianlong Holy Dynasty. The Tianlong Holy King quickly reacted and said to Shen Xiao, "Let your sister join our camp. She should have the blood hell talisman on her body, and she seems to be able to fight with this dragon man." Beast communication. Unexpectedly, when he said this, there was no movement from Shen Xiao. She looked at the girl blankly and couldn't help but shed tears. Roar. At this moment, the dragons and beasts seemed to gather around her, and they were one with her spiritual will. He seemed to share her hatred and became manic again. She seems to have an army. She raised her head and said to Shen Xiao, "Sister, you and I have our own destiny. I'm not dead. Are you disappointed?" Shen Xiao took a few steps back and said nothing. She held her mouth with her hand and looked at her blankly. "I'm here to get the 6th magic talisman today. Please give me the divine fire talisman first," Lingxian said softly. Her tone was very calm, but with her character, no matter what she said, she seemed to be very firm. As she spoke, the dragons and beasts roared. "Longzhao, what is your relationship?" The heavenly dragon Saint King was anxious. If the relationship was good, why would this girl still want to take away the divine fire talisman? Shen Xiao couldn't answer. And Princess Lingxian has been held in the palm of the dragon human beast king, and is well protected. The dragon human beasts are staring at Shen Xiao at this time. If it were not for Lingxuan's control, they would probably be even more violent. "Yan'er, I'm sorry for you," Shen Xiao gritted his teeth. "It's all in the past. It's useless to talk about it," Lingxian said. After hearing their conversation, Zhang Zizai had a guess. It seemed that Shen Xiao was not telling the truth. Lingxuan's death in Zilangjiayuan should have something to do with her. This made Zhang Zizai very disappointed. She was the one who asked Lingxian to accompany her, and the two escaped into Xuanhuan together. How could she cause Ling Xuan's death? A sister should not do this. It seems that Shen Xiao is still the same as before, always so selfish, only focusing on himself. Now, Ling Xian is going to take the dragon, human, and beast to fight for Sheng Xiao's divine fire talisman. Those dragon-human beasts really moved, and a large group moved towards the Holy Dynasty's team. Facing the dragon-human beasts alone, the Holy Dynasty's team turned out to be weak. If Ling Xian has murderous intentions, these powerful men in the Holy Dynasty may be destroyed. If they die, the Tianlong Holy Dynasty may not be able to return to its heyday in 1,000 years. Speak quickly, Tianlong Saint King and others were urging Shen Xiao. There's nothing to say. Shen Xiao smiled bitterly and shook his head. Seeing those violent dragon-human beasts coming to kill, the heavenly dragon Saint King and others made a decision directly after seeing this. The group of them acted instantly and rushed towards Zhang Zizai and a large group of people. They were not too far away. When the dragon, human, and beast arrived, they merged with Zhang Zizai and others and entered the same room. In a channel. Despicable, the people of Shenzhen quickly moved away, and the same was true for Hades Palace, but the people of Holy Dynasty followed them at any time. Those dragons and beasts seemed difficult to control. When they mixed with Shenzhen and Hades Palace, Tianlong Holy King, I don't believe that both of them don't need to save their lives from the attacks of dragons and beasts. As long as you use your hands, you can help them share the pressure. For a moment, everyone had gathered together. Shenzhen and Hades wanted to get away, but the Holy Dynasty was such a rogue, they had no choice but to keep running away. The Dragon Man Beast team didn't care about anything, they were very manic, and in the blink of an eye they had reached the passage. Shen Xiao was not far from Zhang Zizai. While fleeing, their eyes met each other. Did you kill her in Xuanhuan? Zhang Zizai asked, glaring at her. I guess. Shen Xiao lowered his head, his face pale. Do you still have a conscience? For your career, Zhang Zizai angrily scolded. Stop talking. Shen Xiao burst into tears. I can't forgive myself either. Forgive me, forgive your mother. Although he didn't know what she had done, if she really had no conscience, Zhang Zizai could only say that no matter what she encountered today, she deserved it. Suddenly, he felt someone was looking at him. It was her sight. Zhang Zizai turned around and saw her standing on the palm of the Dragon Beast King, staring at him blankly. I didn't expect to meet you again, she said from a distance, her eyes were a little dazed. I'm happy to see you still alive, Zhang Zizai said. Before this, he really found it difficult to accept the news that she died in Xuanhuan. If Shen Xiao hadn't taken her away, she would have followed him all the time. But I'm going to take your talisman today, sorry, she said. My talisman? Zhang Zizai was stunned. She didn't seem to give him much face. Yes, I need to get the 6th talisman. I have to get the other talismans first, she said seriously. She came from Xuanhuan, and now she is full of mysteries. I don't know why she can command the dragon beast, why she can come out alive from Xuanhuan, and I don't know why she wants to get the 6th magic talisman. Even Zhang Zizai can't stop her from letting the dragon beast rush up. The target seems to be two people, Zhang Zizai and Shen Xiao. Shen Xiao first. The battle is about to start.